Presented by Listen Headlines, latest world news from trusted sources. Updating daily at 6 a.m. New York.
Washington Post World.
March 22, 5:10 America, New York. 9 million children to be vaccinated against polio in Africa. A drive to vaccinate more than 9 million children against polio has been launched this week in 4 countries in southern and eastern Africa after an outbreak was confirmed in Malawi.
BBC News World.
March 22, 5 o'clock America, New York. Russia. Navalny, jailed opposition leader found guilty in trial branded sham. Alexei Navalny, already in a Russian penal colony, could now be transferred to a top security jail.
Time.
March 22, 4:51 America, New York. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny convicted of fraud. A Russian court on Tuesday convicted jailed opposition leader Alexei Navalny on new fraud charges, according to his allies, in a ruling that may keep President Vladimir Putin's top critic in a maximum security prison for 13 years.
Fox World News.
March 22, 4:51 America, New York. Putin critic and opposition leader Alexei Navalny found guilty by Russian court. Alexei Navalny, a frequent critic of the Kremlin and one of Russian President Vladimir Putin's political enemies, has been found guilty by a Russian court.
WorldCBSNews.com. March 22, 4:46 America, New York. Putin foe Navalny convicted of new fraud charges. Prosecutors want 13 years added to the 2.5-year term Vladimir Putin's most vocal critic is already serving.
Fox World News.
March 22, 4:45 America, New York. Ukrainian children find a welcoming classroom in Berlin. Ukrainian refugee Maria Karashenko tightly clasped the hands of her 2 children as she walked them through the courtyard of a seedy Berlin building, up a graffiti-covered stairway, and into a modern, sunlit classroom.
Washington Post World.
March 22, 4:29 America, New York. Germany conducts raids over hate posts against politicians. German authorities have carried out raids across the country and questioned more than 100 suspects in an investigation of hate posts against politicians connected to last year's national election.
New York Times World News.
March 22, 4 o'clock America, New York, 1972. Millions of workers strike in Italy. Farm laborers, pressing demands including a shorter working week and a minimum wage, staged a 24-hour walkout. Refinery and filling station employees were also striking over pay and hours.
Washington Post World.
March 22, 3:21 America, New York. Space Force Down Under? Australia partners with the Pentagon on space defense. The U.S. Space Force created under Trump could have a partner as Australia takes a step toward creating its own.
New York Times World News.
March 22, 3 o'clock America, New York. Gurkha veterans fight a colonial-era legacy still shaping Nepal. Nepal's best and brightest have been recruited while young to fight for Britain for over 200 years, with their pay and pensions a fraction of their fellow British soldiers for much of that time. Raven Mahat, 19, second from left, training to realize a lifelong dream. A spot in the British Army.
Mirror World News.
March 22, 2:49 America, New York. Russian woman who held anti-war banner on state TV accused of being Brit spy. Marina Ovsinikova, 43, famously stood up to Vladimir Putin's regime by holding up an anti-war banner on state TV, but she has now been accused of being a British spy. Fox World News.
March 22, 2:04 America, New York. Russian society becoming more like North Korea, expert says, as Kremlin creates new, hermit kingdom. As Russian President Vladimir Putin wages a deadly war against Ukraine, one expert is saying that the country's society is inching closer and closer to that of North Korea.
BBC News World.
March 22, 1:59 America, New York. Ukraine war. Belarusian dissidents fight against Russia in Ukraine. Belarusian dissident Pavel Kulalanka left his life in New York to join the fight against Russia.
BBC News World. March 22, 1:21 America, New York. China plane crash. Rescuers search for survivors as families await news. Rescuers continue to search for survivors of the China Eastern flight, which was carrying 132 people.
New York Times World News.
March 22, 0:54 America, New York. Your Tuesday briefing. Mariupol refuses to surrender.
A Ukrainian serviceman guarding his position in Mariupol, Ukraine, on Saturday.
https://globalnews.ca/feed/.
March 21. 2359 America, New York. Annual HOPE Outreach Gala raises funds for growing need in Okanagan. We have seen almost a 45% increase in the ladies that we're serving. Outreach Gala.
WorldCBSNews.com. March 21. 2356 America, New York. No survivors found in China Eastern plane crash, state media says. State media reported all Boeing 737-800s in China Eastern's fleet were ordered grounded, an unusual move when there is no evidence the plane model is flawed.